So, the question of the day. Anyway, hi everybody. This is Big Steph again once. And before you check out this YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel first of all, and also subscribe to my podcast, because I have this podcast called Cultural Awareness, where we talk about culture, how culture around the world acts. Most likely, I choose to talk a lot about the Bantu culture, which is where I am from, right? I'm from Cameroon, Central, West Africa, whatever you want to call it, but we're in Africa for sure. So, recently, I actually posted a podcast episode where I asked the question, should a woman ask a man in marriage, right? And, I listen to a lot of people, some women. I like to hear a lot of what women have to say, right? Because us as men, I kind of believe or think that I know which way we will answer a question. But I like to listen to women on what they say and kind of hear them out to kind of see what is their perspective. Because, a man is always going to think most of the time like a man, and a woman would think like a woman. So you want to try to be open-minded as possible and hear what the other side have to say. And one thing that came up from that question is, because they believe in equality, that it's okay or it's normal for a woman to ask or to pop the question, to ask for a man's hand. Anyway, sorry, but that is just weird for me as an African, that a woman will ask for a man's hand in marriage. Okay, sorry, sidetrack. But anyway, so they actually believe in equality, and they think that if a man can do it, a woman should be able to do it also, right? A woman should be able to also pop the question. And that pushed me to make this, short video, because I usually mostly make podcasts, and I'm trying to see if I can turn it into a YouTube video. So, first of all, there's nothing wrong with the way you're thinking. But just because you're thinking that way doesn't mean that it is correct, right? We are all allowed and free-minded people. We are all allowed to think however way we want to think. But do not force another person to just accept it. I can hear you out. I can let you talk. Not that I can let you talk. You are allowed to talk. You can do whatever you want. But you also have to hear from the other perspective. Now, I hear the woman point, right? They feel like you've been with a man for a long time and he keep getting cold feet and he doesn't pop the question. Maybe they should go ahead and take the initiative to go ahead and do it. Hey, if that is what you believe in, that is okay. But let me now speak from my perspective and from the male perspective, right? I don't believe it, not at all. I do not believe a woman should go ahead and ask a man in marriage. First of all, I just believe that traditionally is the man's job to go ahead and ask for a woman in marriage. That is number one. Number two, if that man really care about you the way he says he do, he will ask you to marry him. Number three, if a man haven't asked you in marriage, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you. Maybe he just doesn't see it that way yet, right? Maybe he's not there yet. He doesn't see it that way yet. But think of yourself in terms of value. You have to have value to yourself. Have you been living with him a little bit? If yes, okay, that is good. Okay, that is good, because it happens. Sometimes if you want to get to know somebody more, maybe it's better to be at the source itself, right? If you want to see where the river is coming from, maybe it's better to be at the source. But I think that you should not go ahead and ask a man in marriage. If he doesn't pop the question, make yourself more valuable. If he doesn't see that value, leave. Simple as that. Don't go ahead and humiliate yourself, because when you ask for a man in marriage, you put out you actually put men in a very, very uncomfortable situation where you want the answer to be what you want it to be. For example, let's say you've been with a man, for about, 3, 4, 5 years or whatever, and he hasn't actually married, and you decide to go ahead, you bring your friends, because we know how women are. They never do it in private. They want all their friends to see. They want to feel special. They want it to be a big thing. They want it to be unforgettable. So they always try to make sure they put on a show. They bring families, members, they bring friends and everything, and you decide to go ahead and whine and ask for a man to marry you. Ladies, if that man really loves you and care about you, what do you think the answer will be? Of course, the answer is going to be yes. Not because he wants to do it, but because you put him in that predicament. You put him in a situation where he has no choice but to say yes. And I believe as a result, you have some marriage that don't last more than 2 years or 3 years, then you discover other things and things like that. So that's why you should let a man go ahead and do it, because once it comes from him, he's for sure, he's certain about it, that is what he really wants to do. But once you do it and everything, he's going to do it not because he wants to, but he's doing it because he wants to make you happy and save you for the embarrassment in front of your families and friends. That is why most of the time, at least I haven't seen it, but most of the time I've seen where that woman asks for a man in marriage. Most of the time they always say yes. Of course, if they care about you, they will go ahead and say yes, not because they want to do it, but because they don't want to embarrass you in front of your friends and family. That is why a man would do it. But I always say this, right? Don't do it, let him do it. And if he doesn't ask you the question, make yourself more valuable. If he doesn't see the value, leave. And once maybe you leave, he will see that something is missing and he will come after you. But do not go ahead and do it just because I don't believe. I'm African. African believe that that all of the time, man should be the one asking for a woman in marriage. That is just the way it has been culturally. Just because once a man do it, that is something he really feels is coming from the bottom of his heart. When you do it, it's coming from the bottom of your heart. That's how you feel. You're being emotional, right? And because you're being emotional, you don't know what is going on the other side. You don't know what is going on in his heart. Maybe, just maybe there are some things that he's expecting from you before popping the question. You got to be patient. And if that is not the case, because at one point some guys also are out here wasting people's time. If you don't want to marry her, let her go. You know what I mean? And if he doesn't pop the question within, I don't know, 3, 4 years being together, maybe, just maybe, I don't know what goes into people's head, but maybe it's time for you to look for, to look for a way out and maybe make him see you more as a wife instead of a girlfriend. That is what my take on it. Now, that being said, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and my podcast, Cultural Awareness Podcast, and see you on the next episode when I launch the video.